Welcome to the Panic Button. I'm Jesse.
And I'm Nina.
And today we're reacting to Lillytino being interviewed by another trans TikTok creator. We know that Lillytino is the person you love to hate. And we just thought, since we've only gotten surface clips from Lillytino, it was time to hear the horse's mouth.
Hear from the horse's mouth. Here we go.
I'm not good at those.
Okay, what is your definition of a woman?
That's a tough one because a lot of people have a very specific and narrow definition. But at the end of the day, for me, if you feel like a woman, then you are. There are no rules how your body needs to be configured. If you are a woman, you are a woman.
Okay. What do you hope people remember you for?
Something I never really thought about. I don't know. Hopefully for...
I think that you wanted to comment on the opinion of what a woman is, don't you? You wanted to clarify.
And what a woman is for him?
For us. I mean, I know you wanted that point because it's one of those things where it's like infuriating to hear over and over again that a woman is someone who feels like a woman, completely erasing any parts of females that are given to us, cursed to us biologically.
Yeah, pretty much if you're a trans woman and you say that a woman is anyone who identifies as a woman, then you're pretty much nothing. Like, there's no definition to what you're trying to go for.
Because doesn't that also alternatively make a man anyone who identifies as a man?
Yeah, or a dog, anyone that identifies as a dog.
It means anything can be anything.
So he's not technically a woman.
He's not anything.
Even by his definition, he's not a woman.
Well,
because it doesn't mean anything.
Well, no, he is, because in his head, a woman is anyone who says they're a woman. Mm-hmm. I'm 6'4" because I say I'm 6'4". I'm 5'1" barely.
Yeah.
Yeah. My truth is what I say it is. It's not what you're experiencing right now.
Yeah.
Making them feel hopeful, or for teaching them something, or for keeping them company.
Okay. How do you deal with constant criticism and negativity all of this has brought with it?
I have good people around me. I have supportive friends and family, and I have learned how to process the negativity and channel it into creative energy, but it does affect me.
Understandable. Do you consider yourself an advocate for trans rights?
Wait. You learned how to process it, but it does affect you. But if you learned how to process it, then it wouldn't affect you. So which one is it?
Well, to say that you processed it means that you are through with it. Therefore, there would be no affecting you. Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
I think you can process something and it can still have an effect on you. But that doesn't mean that it, affects you daily.
Okay.
And this is affecting Nick daily.
Obviously.
If so, please explain how.
Yes, absolutely. I do. My platform, I use my platform to advocate and educate, not on behalf of the transgender community as a whole. That's not fair. I don't think anyone can really say that. This is a big community. But my goal is to bring the absolute basics, right? Like the most core essential things about the trans experience and make them easily understandable and catchy and interesting for the average person who maybe has never met a trans person as far as they know.
Okay. Have you ever been charged or convicted of a crime?
So wait, you just said that your goal is to sensationalize trans people, to make it so that nobody can avoid looking at a trans person, so that even though they're 1% of the population, 90% of us are seeing it 24/7. That's what you want, to show us that you guys are such a minority that that's all we can ever see, right? Am I reading that wrong?
What I thought he said was he wants to make normal people understand what trans is by doing content.
Educating them, forcing education on them, yes.
Right. But the normal person who saw his content wouldn't be like, oh, this is a community that I should accept. These are the type of people I should accept. Actually, it has the opposite response.
How can you show it to normal people and say that this is normal when even the people who you're saying you are a part of don't think you're normal? Does that make sense?
That's a good point.
How can you say I'm promoting normalcy of what we do when the people are like, we don't do that. We don't do that. Don't do that. We don't. You do that. We don't do that.
I don't know. I don't know. Then technically, he is
Harming his cause.
speaking on behalf of the trans community. By saying that he's trans, he's actually speaking on behalf of it.
He's claiming to, but even the trans community is like, we don't go here.
Right. But if normal people see his content and they're like, oh, that's what trans is, that's making them see the entire trans community like him.
Because he's advocating like he is the whole community.
Yeah. Even though he says he's not advocating for the community, he actually is.
Because he's trying to show people this is what trans is when this is what your version of trans is.
Yep.
One time, I never talked about this. I will talk around this because it's keywords, but let's just say that about a decade ago,
Like 6, 7.
I had, how do I say this? Gardening supplies with me. And yeah, nothing, no criminal charges related to anything other than that, though.
Gardening refers to weed. They can't say weed on TikTok, so they call it gardening. Anytime someone wants to refer to it in a family-friendly way, even
Okay. So a normal person hears that and they think he had gardening tools, what, like a hoe, like a rake?
even Rhett and Link use the words gardening for this.
I don't watch them.
No, but that's the family-friendly way. I'm telling you, there's a family-friendly way of saying they smoke weed. That's the way that YouTube doesn't
Or you
demonetize
could just say you have an
for.
anxiety pen.
That's funny as I love that. I will call all my vapes anxiety pens, and you guys can't come at me because that's a hate crime.
Yeah, totally.
I have some minority.
You've never had a restraining order put against you? Has anyone in your personal life ever accused you of stalking or harassment? Have you ever had a Reddit account with the name Pomegranate in it?
Yes.
You spoke about this a little bit earlier about becoming.
Hang on, was Nick just ignoring those questions about stalking?
Did he answer them?
It sounds like we just glossed over them. Like, I'm not answering that was basically the vibe, right?
Well, if you don't answer it, that usually means yes.
Guilty by, like, omission, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
I wouldn't call it stalking, but I got the restraining order from one girl or something like that. Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, what would be a soft way of saying that you're a stalker? Like
Didn't
gardening tools for smoking weed.
What? What would be a soft way of saying what?
That you're a stalker. I'm a
Obsessed fan.
supportive follower.
I'm a close follower.
Close follower, yes.
Becoming clean, and you're clean now?
Yes.
Okay.
From what?
Do you have or have you ever had anger management issues?
Nothing formally diagnosed, nor do I think that's something I need to be evaluated for. But certainly, there's a lot in the world to be angry about. And there's a lot of things in my past that I, wish it happened differently, right? It's tough to spend so many years kind of just like not doing anything, installing and not being yourself and kind of wasting away. And then one day realize like, oh, I could have been doing something differently the whole time. That's frustrating.
Okay. I saw something about a doctor incident when you were younger. Is this a real situation?
Yeah.
Was what I saw real?
Yeah. Basically, I had a Reddit account when I was younger. That was like, I guess the comments in question were around 2011. So I was about 18 years old. I was like just starting college. And basically what happened was I recounted a story from my past when I was 3 and there was another person who was 3. We were 3 years old, both of us. And we played doctor. And when I was 18, which was, again, 15 years later, I made a very off-color joke about that experience. I thought I was being like an edgelord at the time. Shocking humor was like what I thought was cutting edge and cool and funny.
Was this something that you have memories of, or did you get like found doing this during the situation?
Yeah, I did. I have very vague memories. I was 3, so it's like pretty fuzzy. But basically, like we played doctor once, and the school that we went to saw or found out, I really don't remember, and that was recommended, and it was it.
And that's the whole.
Okay.
I want to see this like Reddit post now. I'm sure if you Google Lillytino Reddit post, it'll pop right up. Oh, I fucking want to know so bad. What the fuck did you say on Reddit?
My assumption is that when he was 3, this whole playing doctor thing,
A lot of people know what's going on. We don't have to get into
Yeah, we
details
don't have
of
to get
it.
into it. But making an off-color joke about that,
How do you even? That's like my biggest, like,
That's kind of dicey.
how do you even make a joke about that? Is like people make jokes about dead parents. People make jokes about like
9/11.
yeah, the edgelord jokes. I was trying to explain this to someone earlier. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, I think Hitler was a good person, and I think that we should kill all of these people. And like edgelords are just people who are trying to get like a draw to people. But like, not to be weird, but I know that Reddit has a lot of like kinky people on there. And I don't think it was necessarily a joke. I'm sure he probably was just retelling the story in a weird way.
And P words on there too.
Yeah, and I wish I had my phone on me to look this up because I'm sure it'll pop right up if I looked up Lillytino's Reddit post.
Do you think the Redditors of yesteryear are the Lillytinos of today? You think a lot of them are?
Here's the problem, okay? There are genuinely good people on Reddit who are just there to find information
Yeah.
and to like find like opinions. And then there's the NSFW version of Reddit.
Yeah.
Which is NSFW, which is
Not safe for work.
the corn and the all the stuff you don't want your kids seeing. And
All the stuff I don't want to see.
yeah, well, you definitely don't want your kids to see it then.
Exactly.
So I think a lot of the people who are in the NSFW community are probably like Lillytino.
Yeah.
But I also think that like Reddit is a good resource, but maybe we should take a little bit of the porn off.
That might be a good idea. I'd have to say so.
Only incident of that type of nature that happened as a child. Have you ever been essayed?
No.
Wait,
Have you ever knowingly taken my...
how can you play doctor but never been essayed?
Well, he said that he was the one that got in trouble. So where do you think that went?
Interesting.
I think we all can connect the dots.
Yeah, that makes that clear, doesn't it?
Yeah, it makes clear who was the, I guess, 3-year-old aggressor. I don't know how else to say it.
Which doesn't always make sense because there would have been some form of sexual abuse or SA to cause a 3-year-old to even have that mentality. There's no way that 2 3-year-olds just raw dog went at that.
I really don't know much about that as far as like kids are concerned.
I mean, unless this kid was seeing porn.
That's possible.
Where do you learn to play doctor?
That's possible.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's definitely a thing, especially since he's like 32. That's definitely possible. Like,
You're going to have to blow out the word porn. Like,
Yeah.
it's because I don't want to say the wrong word, which is corn. I think that's so, like, it's disingenuous to the conversation that needs to be had. If we can't have this conversation, what's the point, you know?
yeah,
or receive donations from a minor?
No.
How can you say no? You're on TikTok.
I will say that, like, on this app, it is pretty difficult, right? Like, knowingly is the key word, right? Someone could easily sub and be younger, right? But I would have no way of knowing that.
This is true. I have seen a Discord screenshot where you admit to a situation around posting discriminatory remarks. Do you discriminate toward anyone based off their race? Basically, are you the R word?
Oh,
A couple R words.
I have no idea what screenshot you're talking about.
It was a Discord screenshot, and it looked like something you had posted in a Discord.
Can you read it, or
Do what?
can you read it? Because I really don't know what you're referring to.
It was just basically a confession about making some remarks. I don't really want to say the word of what it was. But you're not discriminatory.
I don't know what it was about. On the same Reddit account, like the one I was talking about, there was another comment where, again, I was like being, like, oh my gosh, like the edgelord kind of, the Elon humor kind of when I was, 18 and angry and sad. There was some like really racist thing online that I saw, and I was like, oh, this, like I posted some comment that was like, wow, it's so funny. Well, come on, guys, it's a joke. Which was like dumb and stupid, and even at the time, not reflective of how I felt. But yeah, I'm assuming that's what it's referring to. But I've never.
I'm pretty sure that's the situation that I was specifically referring to.
Yeah. There's never like knowingly, discriminated against anyone as like beyond something stupid like that 15 years ago.
You mean you never knowingly discriminated against waiters for accidentally misgendering you? That's crazy. You discriminate against people all the time.
yeah, of course.
He does. Everyone does. Yeah. It's crazy to say I've never knowingly discriminated against someone after posting stuff like that's clearly racist and saying it's funny. You obviously did discriminate against someone at some point.
That is intentional.
Yeah.
When I was on like funny boards.
You talked a little bit about getting clean earlier and that kind of leading into your realization of being trans. Mm-hmm. I believe I've also heard that you found out you were trans during COVID and after being cheated on in a prior relationship. Correct me if I'm wrong on any of this. No, that's not true.
Never been cheated on.
Do you think without COVID you would have ever found out you were trans?
I think I would have. I don't know if it would have been exactly how, at the same time, because it's hard to anticipate that. But I actually started my sober journey late 2019, at the very end of the year. And I think that was probably the thing that informed it the most. But maybe having time being in lockdown to reflect sped up the process. And also me getting a job in San Francisco was informed by COVID to a certain extent. And being in San Francisco, which is a more inclusive place than where I was before, in Georgia, probably had an effect too.
Okay. Do you think being trans is caused by your experiences and or environment, or do you feel you are just inherently trans?
The latter. Transness is not a product of anything that you experience, it just is.
Did you ever feel out of place in your body prior to that realization of...
Hold on. Transness just is, but woman just isn't?
No, woman also just is. Everything just is. If you say is.
No, but if you're a biological woman, that is a fact. He's trying to say that trans is a fact, but woman is whatever.
No, he's also saying that trans is whatever because he's sitting there saying basically whatever you want to be is what you are.
No.
And trans is inherently what you want. If you are born trans.
He's saying you're not born trans. He's okay, he
did just say that you're born trans.
You're born trans.
It's not experiences.
And that's a valid thing. But being born a woman doesn't mean anything.
No, it does. It means I can take it from you.
Take what?
The rights and the spaces of women.
Just the word and the rights, even though there's no definition in his eyes.
There is a definition. It's just a circular definition that we don't agree with.
Which is not a definition.
But by his definition, it makes this true too because he doesn't believe in any solid anything. Nothing is solid. Everything is fluid.
But if you have that, then you don't have anything.
Yeah, you have a fucking sloshing bucket. That's all you have.
Whenever that moment occurred, did you ever have any experiences where you felt uncomfortable in your body?
I never felt comfortable, ever, before I transitioned, physically and emotionally. I didn't have the vocabulary to express that gender dysphoria that I was feeling. But looking back, yeah, problem.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Hold on. What gender dysphoria the hell is he talking about? What gender dysphoria? Look at him. He ain't trying to pass. Isn't gender dysphoria, doesn't it have everything to do with feeling uncomfortable in your body? So in order to feel comfortable in your body, you have to look more like that gender, right?
And all he did was get his balls removed.
And what, grow out his hair and is
I think
wearing
tits.
Girl clothes?
Must be taking estrogen. That's how he got the tits.
Okay. So by wearing clothes and taking
hormones.
estrogen, you feel comfortable in your body.
Well, just removing the balls, too. You can have the penis, but no balls, and then that's what a woman is. A ballless man is a woman, right?
And that makes you comfortable in your body. But that's it. That's it. Like, no passing, no assimilation, just...
To be fair, if I had something dangling between my legs, I'd probably want it removed, too. But that's because I'm not used to it.
Because you're a woman.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's not saying, to be fair to him, just like generally speaking, I can understand that that's what gender dysphoria must feel like. It's be like having something between your legs that you don't want to have there is uncomfortable, right? But this person doesn't feel that way because all you got removed was the balls.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to start getting into some more specific things here. Do you have any regrets about any of your content?
Man, please.
I'm just thinking.
3 minutes, think like.
Right? That's why...
Not really. I mean, there are certain things that if I could go back, I would do differently. But I don't think that necessarily means, I wish I hadn't, ideologically hadn't said something.
Many have said that you intentionally seek to be misgendered for views, content, and free meals. You've said yourself that you don't have passing privilege, so to speak, and you have a deeper toned voice like myself. How can you or we expect to not get misgendered?
I mean, that's the whole goal, right? That's one of the big things that I advocate for, is not, no one is I'm not asking anyone to read my mind. That's not on my slate of things to advocate for. I know that I don't pass. I know that I have a lower voice. I choose not to voice train. But when those videos of me getting misgendered go around, I know that I'm the one that puts them out. But it's difficult when I put those out to convey a greater context around it. That like I stream 4 times a week, if not more sometimes. In the past, I've done as much as 5 or 6 or 7.
So what he's saying is he's choosing specifically to get misgendered by not changing or assimilating or trying to blend in like normal. Sorry, I know normal trans sounds weird, but actual transsexuals.
People want to be perceived
as female. He doesn't want to be perceived as female. He wants to be perceived as a woman.
He wants to be
He
wants to be perceived as a male identifying as a woman, and it's obvious that it's a male identifying as a woman and not a woman, or maybe someone who might be identifying as a woman. There's a clear definition, and to go out and film yourself knowing you don't pass,
and then intentionally
and then
trying
reacting,
not to pass.
and then reacting as if it's the end of the world when you know yourself know it. That's like me getting mad every time someone calls me fat. I know I'm fat. I'm not saying that for sympathy in the comments. I'm not saying that for sympathy from anyone. It doesn't hurt my feelings to be called fat because I know what I look like. It doesn't hurt my feelings to be called brown-haired because I know what I have. It sucks sometimes to be reminded of reality, but it doesn't sit there and drag me down. I don't sit there and tell people it's a knife to the heart every time you tell me I'm fat.
He's intentionally not
Rage baiting.
He's intentionally trying not to pass, so he gets misgendered, so he has content.
Rage baiting.
And I go to restaurants and I eat the food, hang out, and chat. And the vast majority of those times, I do not get misgendered, right? Sometimes I do. And when I do, I put those videos on the internet to draw attention to what happened, which is, hey, everyone should work on using more gender-neutral language. That is one of the big asks of my content.
No, it's not, actually.
You don't even make it clear.
No, you don't make it clear whatsoever. You're not putting it online in order to make people realize that you need to start correctly gendering someone. You're like, that's not the purpose of why he's doing it. He says that, but that's not actually why.
No, because if it really was the purpose, like, was to show that trans people are regular people and they just want to have a meal and they just want to get through and they don't want to make your life harder, then when you would have those interactions, you'd politely say, thank you, and you'd tip them generously. You might correct them, but you wouldn't make it harder on them.
Mm-hmm. Like it's a knife to the gut.
Right.
Can
I speak to your manager?
Dramatic about
Those
it.
kids over there walked past your store and called me man.
Yeah. Oh yeah, when he was outside.
Yeah.
And those kids came up and they misgendered him and was saying stuff, and he tried
to get the staff to help him out. Like the staff had any control of these kids that they don't even know.
It wasn't even in their restaurant. It's like,
can I speak to a manager?
Excuse me. Yeah. So a friend called me and said some stuff, or a stranger said something to me. Like, what are they supposed to do about it? Or what? Why?
Or the waitress that sat there.
You're tattletaling on, what?
Or the waitress that sat there and he said that this is a man and it was a woman who sat there and was like, excuse me. Mm-hmm. Like, you assume people's genders. I never see you sitting down. Like, at the beginning of this, he goes, what are your pronouns? But, like, I never see any clips of Lillytino sitting down and talking to a waiter and saying, what are your pronouns?
Right.
Because it's a selfish, narcissistic point of view to say, I want the world to stop using gendered language with me. That's the point of my content, is to show everyone else how narcissistic I am and that you can't speak to me that way.
While simultaneously saying that he's trying to help the trans community by doing these videos.
No, he's trying to help himself.
Exactly. But what he's saying is the opposite of what he's doing.
Yeah, because wouldn't anyone say, oh no, I'm not being selfish. This is for the good of mankind.
If I'm a waiter and I misgender the person I'm serving and they make a big to-do about it and they become jerky like him, that will make not only the people who watch that video, but the waiter be like, ugh, I am not going to serve any more of these people.
You ready to see the difference between men and women? Hey, women, how many times do you walk into a store, a restaurant, and you hear, when you're in a group, hey, guys, and it's a group of women? How often do you hear it? How often do you guys lose your shit because they said, hey, guys, and it's all women?
How often do you say, it's ladies, not guys?
It's like a knife to our collective heart when you say guys to all of us women.
We don't.
Exactly, because you never hear it happening. But if a guy gets called lady once and they don't want to be that, then it's the end of the world. But if they do want it, then it's the beginning of the whole rest of their lives.
But also, if he knows he's a woman, why does it matter if they misgender?
I don't know. It's how he wants. He has narcissism.
Yeah, he wants to control other people and how
Yeah.
they speak. This is not normalizing. This is all about control.
Things I'm trying to educate about is we all should be using more gender neutral language. So how can we expect not to get misgendered? The hope is that if we advocate enough, no one will have to worry about that, right? If we advocate enough, people like, and I don't know where you fall on this. I think that if I voice trained and maybe changed my body language a little bit and, did a couple other things, I could be in the realm of passing. Probably, maybe. But there's some
Tried being the key word.
Tried.
Yeah.
If I actually did the things that they say to do when you're transitioning, then I'd look convincing. Yeah, because at the end of the day, you need to take the estrogen, get the facial feminization surgery, which doesn't look like you actually did. You have to change your body language to actually look like a woman because you're not a woman. And you're not playing the part well.
people out there who will never pass, be it for financial reasons or because maybe they're too old to pass, because, it takes a lot, estrogen takes time. When you start transitioning at 60, you're probably not going to be able to get there. And those people shouldn't have to worry about getting misgendered, right? Like, they shouldn't have to say, well, I guess I'm just going to get misgendered 24/7. What if they weren't? That's
So sometimes it appears, I don't know, do you ever feel like you could,
What if no one in Africa went hungry? What if we just fed Africa? What if? Do you see how that's the same as what he's just saying?
Yeah.
What if we just ended world hunger? No more wars. What if we just stop fighting?
He's saying he's not advocating for the trans community, but he says he's advocating
What if we
for
just...
trans people.
You realize how many little kids are constantly misgendered?
Yeah.
You know how many fat women look like men? You know how many fat guys look like chicks? I was driving the other day, and I saw this guy, and I saw this person with long hair, and I was like, oh, he's got a fat mom. And then I drove up, and I saw the full beard, and I was like, oh, he's got a fat friend. And so, like, not to be like, but on the phone, in person, people have historically had handsome women, beautiful men. You know, it's not It's not uncommon.
I have a question.
But to act like it's the end of the world because someone misgendered you, like, holy shit.
I have a question. So if every trans person went out and pulled a Lillytino, went to a restaurant and got misgendered and did the whole knife in the heart thing and made a big to-do about it, he's saying that advocacy would make people not misgender?
No, he may, well, yeah. Yeah.
So, but he still gets misgendered. So obviously the advocacy
doesn't work.
it's not working.
Yeah.
So why would you keep doing something over and over again, seeing that it's not work? Like, do you think that's just going to happen one day?
It's not for advocacy. It's for money.
Exactly.
Attention.
It has nothing to do with what he's actually saying.
The whole
It's
reason,
about
the whole reason Lillytino sat down to do this, you can tell this person doesn't
like
Lillytino.
Yeah.
And the whole reason Lillytino agreed to this is because it's more money, more attention, more eyes on me.
Oh yeah.
could respond differently. Sometimes it appears like a scene's being made. And if it means so much to you to not be misgendered, like, personally, how come you don't want to put more into like voice training and things like that?
Let me take the first half of that first, right? Like, that I'm making a scene. I know you're not the only person who has suggested that I'm overreacting, that my reaction is uncalled for. The reason I react like that is because, and I know this sounds silly, it's because that's who I am. I am a confrontational person. I complain about things, not just about getting misgendered. I love them. But also, when I see an injustice, I will stand up to it. All the time, every time. So when I get misgendered, that's just my natural reaction. Like, could I react differently?
And there you go.
I'm just going to do it because I like it.
Yeah, he wants to be himself, the man he is, while controlling everyone else's speech, not passing, also making the trans community look like garbage, and being confrontational. Totally not a woman thing, by the way.
You're kind of confrontational.
So if he's going out in public knowing that he's going to get misgendered, well, then he's going out in public knowing that he's going to be confrontational. And, well, if the public knows that, people that watch him know that, they're going to avoid him like the plague, especially women.
Well, yeah, the idea of knowing you're a confrontational person and then seeking out confrontation. Like, are you going to get violent? Are we supposed to? I mean, not all confrontation is violent, but a lot of confrontation becomes violent. Is this something we should be concerned about? Is this a reason that we should try and avoid you?
Or why we should tell him to stay out of our bathrooms. Although we can't say that to him in public because he'll be confrontational. This is why women don't want these guys in our bathroom, because they are confrontational. He is putting it out there. And that's why women usually keep their heads down when they see dudes like this in our bathroom, because they're like, oh, I'm not getting in a mess like that. Because a confrontational man is a danger to a woman. Mm-hmm. But a confrontational man to a man is...
I mean, a regular day, you think? A lot of men get a little confrontational with each other.
Right. But a confrontational woman...
is more of a rarity.
Yes. Yes, it is. Because we don't want to rock the boat.
No, we just want to move on.
Yeah. It's finished.
Sure, but I don't, because that's not life, right? As far as the second half of your question goes, why don't then I, if it means so much to me, if I get so upset about it, why do I not just voice treat? The answer there is because this is who I am. This is like, I like my voice. I like my voice, and I don't feel like I should be expected to change who I am just so that I don't have to deal with like a certain type of inconvenience, right?
But he wants everyone else to change who they are and how they act and how they speak to placate to him.
I don't feel like I should transition to have to be trans. I don't feel like I should have to present as a female. I don't think I should have to. This is what he's saying. This is what he's saying. I don't think I should have to sound more feminine. I should be able to sound like a man and still be called a woman. I should be able to sound like a man, call the bank, and not have them misgender me or deny my account because I sound like an opposite gender of what it says I am. That you're asking for such unrealistic unreasonable, unrealistic things. It's never going to happen. No one's going to sit there on the phone and ask you what your gender is, what your pronouns are. It's just not happening ever.
Yeah. And the next guy who decides he wants to be a woman is going to who thinks like him isn't even going to do the long hair or the chick clothes. He'll just be a regular dude walking in the ladies' room, just expecting everyone to bow down and do what he says. Or else he'll be confrontational.
Mm-hmm.
In a perfect world, everyone would use gender-neutral language, and I could have a deeper voice and not have to worry about it, not have to worry about getting misgendered, right? And that's what I'm advocating for, is for both things to be true.
So he's advocating for, this is unrealistic expectations. Unrealistic.
Super unrealistic expectations.
He's expecting everyone to just use gender-neutral language
act like
for everything?
Act like nobody has a gender whatsoever.
Because 1% of the population has
a problem with it, has an issue with their gender.
Well, that's never going to happen. That's not only unrealistic, that's lunacy.
It's literal languages have gender built into them.
You're going to tell the Spanish lady whose second language is English that she needs to use gender-neutral language around you?
Even though all their language is based in gender.
Yeah.
You guys are kind of wild with this. It's a very selfish perspective. I feel like this might be a good natural stopping point, though.
It is. It also shows that he's incredibly narcissistic and that his presence within the trans community and his advocacy is actually doing so much damage to the trans community.
He's a plague for the trans community. He really is.
Not only a plague, he's a nuisance.
Oh, but a plague's worse because it's eating away at like the good. Anything that's healthy is eating away at.
So he's like the Black Plague.
Mm-hmm. It's consuming the people that have good intentions, the people who truly are mentally unwell but have good intentions.
Yeah.
The people who we don't hate, the people that we respect, the people who don't care to disrupt us in the bathroom. It causes them to have a bitter, dirty name because this is all you see. Yeah. And it causes them to flee, and it also causes it to be harder to have discourse and conversations among people who, for the most part, agree with each other because you have such radical representation.
Yeah, and he is the main representation.
And it's very radical.
We have nice trans people who try to fit in. Those kind of people are going to have a more harder time, and they won't be as famous as Lillytino because he intentionally does stuff to make people hate him. Whether he admits to it or not, which I'm sure he won't, it makes people hate him. Therefore, since he's the representation, everybody who sees him will think that all trans people are like him because he's pretty much, He's not saying that he's different from trans people. He's saying that he is a trans person.
He's saying he's an advocate for them, actually.
Exactly.
He did. He said
Which
it.
is even worse.
He's saying he represents them.
Exactly.
Yes.
Which is even worse because
For the community of people who are genuinely decent and want, and I'm not saying like are truly trans or anything. I'm saying like these are just genuinely decent people who don't want anything bad, don't want to talk to your kids. They just want to live their life in peace.
blend in.
Yes, regardless of wherever they fall, if there's a conversation that we can have with these people, it's being lost because of people like Lillytino.
And people who aren't used to being around trans people, but have only seen Lillytino, when they see a trans person the next time, are going to associate trans with Lillytino, not with good people. And that's the Lillytino problem. He's a black plague. You're right. Thank you, everybody. Like and comment. Join our memberships. Hit the bell.
Send me a
Anything
heated
else?
blanket. I'm cold all the time. It's summer and I'm freezing.
Send her a heated blanket. No, I'm kidding. You don't have to.
It was a joke. It was a joke, I swear. We're almost at 30,000. That's cool.
We're trying to make our way to 30,000 subscribers, so please subscribe. Share this video with a friend.
Do you remember when we had 3?
I remember when we had 3.
I was one of the 3.
This is part 1. There's going to be a part 2 because this is a very long interview. Bye.
Bye.
Crawling hard in